I've been able to banish filler words from my speech entirely. From saying or ah 3, 4, or 5 times every single sentence to not saying it at all. This is the exact process that I took to achieve this. Now, first of all, you need to understand, why do you want to get these out of your speech? Let's say this here is the message you're trying to convey to the engager, the person you are in a conversation with. This is one This is another This is another And that hides your message. It makes your message less clear. If you try and see the book behind these post-it notes on my phone, it's a little bit hidden. And that's the same when it comes to speaking. If you blend your message with ahs, it's harder for your listener to understand. Let's say you're in a business meeting. You're giving a presentation and it's like this. Today, we're going to show you how we can improve the ROI in the business by doing these 3 tactics. Or you went, today I'm going to show you how I can improve your ROI at the business by showing you 3 strategies that you can implement today. By stuttering less, by getting rid of the filler words, or the non-filler words as some people like to call them, you make your message have more clarity. But not only that, it brings more authority to yourself. And ahs make you seem like you're not as competent within a certain subject. Now I'm going to show you this before I get into the 3-step process to eliminate them completely. Just sit where you are, stand where you are, and breathe in. Now breathe out. Breathe in. Now, when you breathe out, say Now breathe in and say Breathe out, say Breathe in, say You physically can't say when you're breathing in, because your breath is the fuel to your voice. If you can't breathe out, you can't make sound. You can't make vibrations in your throat to create sound, which is your speech. That's why people pause. And you need to get used to pausing if you want to eliminate these from your speech. The pause is so important. Whilst you're talking, if you get rid of your filler words and you put a pause instead, your message will be simplified. You won't have the clutter in between the message, and you will just have the message. For example, I could say why you need to get rid of this, instead of saying why you need to get rid of this. When I feel like I'm going to say I will breathe in, because by breathing in, I can't say It gives me time to think and say the rest of my sentence. And that's a little mindset shift that you've got to get over to get rid of these ums. You need to get used to the pause. It can feel quite weird in conversations. It can feel weird initially. But that's something that you're going to have to do over time. Now, this is the 3-step process. Number 1, you're going to record. Number 2, you're going to reflect. And number 3, you are going to repeat. First step, number 1, recording. You are going to record yourself speaking for 5 minutes. I used to go on a walk, put voice record on my phone, and just go. You are going to ask yourself a question and answer it. You have 5 minutes. Use the whole 5 minutes. But don't do this, because I used to do this at the start and it's cheating. I used to think about the question before I actually went on the walk. But the problem with that is I would replay sentences in my head and structure together a mini speech before I've done the activity. And because I did that, I would say and ah less, because it was a little bit planned. I would even think about questions the night before for the next day. What you need to do is go on ChatGPT and get it to ask you a random question, because then it's spontaneous. It's improvisation. Because when you are spontaneous, you are more likely to say and ah, because you're making it up on the spot. And if you want, you could go, ask me a question on sport, go. Ask me a question on my family, go. Ask me a question on cooking, go. Totally up to you. But if you're feeling confident just go ask me a random question. And then that leads me on to step number 2, the reflection. This bit is the most important bit, because by reflecting and watching yourself back, you start to become aware. And once you start to become aware, you start to become intentional with what you say. If you are not aware, you won't realize you're saying ums and ahs. Before I did this 3-step process, I would say and ah all the time, but I wouldn't know I was saying those words. Subconsciously, I would just say it. I wouldn't even think about it. It would just come out. And it's the same as the red car theory. If I asked you, how many red cars have you seen today? You're probably going to say none. But now, you're probably going to see a couple of red cars tomorrow. And it's not because there wasn't any red cars before. It's because you start to become aware. You will be aware when you say it, and you will be aware when other people say it. But that is the first step to actually improving. Because if you record yourself and do nothing from the recording, you will not improve. You will not eliminate these words, and you will not banish them from your repertoire. And I'll tell you one little other thing about reflecting. I got rid of my filler words in public speeches, in doing videos for social media. But I started recording myself a month ago using these glasses, going up to strangers and making conversations. I didn't say I didn't say ah, and I wasn't saying so. But what I realized, I was filling the space with a word that was yeah. I was just going yeah, as they were going yeah, yeah. I wasn't giving the space for silence. I was getting rid of that awkwardness because it's someone I'd not really spoken to. I was approaching them on the street. I was just filling it. And it was only by filming myself with these that I realized that. I did this drill a few years ago for my ums and ahs, but I've now revisited the drill for when I approach randomers, just to get rid of that yeah, have more silence, more time for both of us to think. And then that leads me on to the last stage, and that is repeating the process. If you don't repeat it, it's not going to be set in stone. You're not going to banish these words. You record, you reflect, and you repeat. Now, by using this information, go weave a better way with your words.